defy you actually to look at any of the 17 forms of crime that are listed in the Ofcom guidance and say you're OK with them being promoted. You couldn't possibly be. As for the ability of Peter Carr, the Secretary of...
You saw that immediately. A loaded accusation, delivered with confidence, designed to shut the conversation down before it even begins. Instead of answering the question about censorship, the argument is dragged straight into the most extreme territory imaginable. Terrorism, pornography, children. It's not an answer, it's a shield. And when politicians reach for shields this quickly, it tells you one thing. They don't trust their own position to survive scrutiny.
Thangam Demonet, should Peter Carr apologise for what he said today about Nigel Farage?
I mean, I can't answer for Peter, and I actually
Well,
think
you
that this particular argument, this argument is extremely unedifying, the one between Peter and Nigel. I think the serious point here is about the protection of children and the protection of the public from serious illegal harm. It is illegal, and I defy you, Mr. Yusuf, to say that it's OK for certain websites to be promoting terrorism and nothing should happen. I defy you to say that it's absolutely OK for websites and algorithms deliberately to target children with pornography, and you're OK with that. I defy you actually to look at any of the 17 forms of crime that are listed.
To explain why it is that in the 48 hours or so that this legislation has really bitten and has come into force, let's look at what's actually been censored. Explain to me why Katie Lamb's speech in the House of Commons, by the way, where there's supposed to be parliamentary privilege, where she excoriated the track record of those who covered up the grooming gangs, for example, that has been censored on X. You'd have to defy. I defy you, with respect. I let you finish your point. Please let me respond. I defy you to explain why it is that a transcript of the testimony inside court with regards to the grooming gangs has also been censored on X, and many anti-government tweets have been censored on X. A first incentive, which is what this bill does. Look at the penalties, 10% of global revenues. These are global platforms of which the UK is an infinitesimal proportion of their revenue. Look at the penalties for management, potential jail time. If you create those perverse incentives, what are they going to do? They're going to be over-censorious. They're going to be overzealous. Why? Because that is the rational thing to do. Anyone who has not... It isn't Elon Musk himself who makes these decisions. It is AI algorithms. It is AI algorithms. It is AI algorithms that make these decisions. It is AI algorithms that make these decisions writ large. And what you are now doing, if you don't trust the tech companies, then this is the last act.
At this point, the defense collapses, because this is no longer theoretical. We're not talking about hypothetical harms or future safeguards. We're talking about real speech being removed right now. Parliamentary speech, court evidence, public protest, and the response isn't concern or accountability. It's distance. That's the tech companies. But the moment you design penalties this severe, you hardwire over-censorship into the system. That isn't an accident. That is the predictable outcome.
Nothing on the internet that should be restricted in front of children.
Of course not.
But that is what this bill is trying to do. So, but you want to repeal the whole thing. You're not talking about amending it to change the parameters of it. You just want to get rid of the whole thing.
A new legislation specifically targeted at protecting children. So, first of all, as someone who built a tech company and understands tech, frankly, unlike the dinosaurs who actually wrote this bill, what we need to do is ensure that children are actually protected. What we actually haven't talked about here is this act makes children less safe. The evidence of that is 4 of the top 5 most downloaded apps in the Apple App Store as we speak are VPNs. These are virtual networks that allow children to spoof their location anywhere in the world. The 13 to 16-year-olds, anyone who's encountered a 13 to 16-year-old these days will tell you they will run rings around most baby boomers who draft this legislation. And what that then means, they're much more likely to go to places like the dark web. And I want to say this too. If you're a parent, it's really important you know this. Don't be lulled into a false sense of security. If you set parental controls and monitoring with your ISP, with Sky Internet, EE Internet, BT Internet, those VPNs defeat. Those VPNs defeat.
OK, let's not all talk at the same time, because that's no good for anyone. There's clearly a bigger question. Are there other approaches? Australia has gone to the whole hog and...
This wasn't just an interview. It was a warning. You saw how quickly legitimate criticism was reframed as moral failure. You heard how vague language replaced clear answers. And you felt the unease when responsibility was quietly handed over to algorithms, regulators, and foreign tech firms. This is a pattern where sweeping laws are sold as protection, but enforced through fear. Where politicians talk about safety while refusing to own the consequences of the systems they create. And when those systems start silencing lawful speech, the response is always the same: denial, deflection, and distance. This is why trust is gone. Because when laws are written so broadly that even Parliament can't speak freely, the problem isn't implementation, it's intent. You don't accidentally build a system that punishes speech first and asks questions later. You design it that way. You saw it. You heard it. You felt the hesitation when the stakes became real. So the question isn't whether this law needs teething time. The question is whether people who refuse to answer simple, direct questions should ever be trusted with power this wide. Is this incompetence, or is it cowardice? And would you trust people like this to decide what you're allowed to say, see, or share? If that answer is no, like the video, subscribe, and turn the bell on.